Kai gripped the controls of his aging transport ship as the docking clamps engaged with a shuddering finality. Through the viewport, the gleaming spires of Xylo's station loomed, a marvel of crystalline architecture that never failed to leave him in awe despite his numerous visits. The station was renowned throughout the galaxy not just for its beauty, but for the rigid social system that governed it: harmonic resonance. Logos run final docking protocols and prepare cargo manifests. Kai instructed his ship's AI, executing docking protocols with precisely 100% efficiency. Cargo manifests prepared with exactly 0 errors. Logos replied in its characteristic literal manner. May I remind you that your current debt calculations remain at precisely. I know. Kai waved dismissively, cutting off the overly precise AI. A programming glitch had left Logos incapable of approximation or figurative language. Everything was exact, literal, and often awkwardly stated. Just have a delivery ready. Quick in, quick out. That's the plan. Plans have a statistical tendency toward failure rates of approximately. That's enough, Logos. Kai sighed, gathering his worn captain's jacket. The sleeve had torn during their last bumpy landing, exposing a patch of his forearm. He'd meant to repair it, but funds were tight, and new clothing ranked low on his priority list. As a human, or dissonant, as the Xylans classified his kind, Kai had learned to navigate the fringes of Xylo's station. The elegant, crystalline Xylan species who controlled the station relied on their precious harmonic resonance system, biological implants that measured and governed social interactions based on resonance compatibility. Humans were tolerated but considered inherently low-resonance beings, relegated to service roles, and kept at arm's length from Xylan society. Kai didn't care much about the politics or prejudice. He just needed to deliver his cargo, collect payment, chip away at his mountain of debt, and get back to the stars without incident. Simple objectives that somehow always became complicated on Xylos. The main concourse of Xylos station bustled with activity. Crystalline Xylans moved with graceful precision, their implants occasionally flickering with soft colors as they registered compatible encounters with their peers. Security drones hovered overhead, constantly scanning for disharmonious activity. Kai kept his head down, cargo manifest clutched in his hand, as he navigated through the crowd. That's when it happened. In the dense crowd, a sudden shift in the flow of foot traffic caused Kai to collide hard with someone. He stumbled backward, catching himself just before falling, then looked up into the coldest, most disapproving eyes he had ever seen. Commander Lyra Vanya stood before him, her crystalline features sharp and elegant, her implant glowing a perfect, steady blue, the mark of someone with flawless resonance ratings. As head of operational harmony for the station, she embodied everything the system valued: order, protocol, and perfect compatibility with the established hierarchy. Her implant immediately began flashing an angry red when she registered Kai's presence. "Watch where you're going, dissonant," she said, her voice as cold as space itself. "Sorry, I didn't mean to," Kai began, but Lyra cut him off with a raised hand. "Your resonance readings are among the lowest I've ever encountered," she stated, her implant now displaying scrolling data that Kai couldn't read. "Stay away from me. We are fundamentally incompatible." She attempted to step around him, but the crowd had grown denser, observers gathering to witness the confrontation. Security drones descended, their scanning beams sweeping over both of them. "Commander Vanya, is there a problem?" came the mechanical voice from the nearest unit. "Just removing a dissonant from my path," she replied, reaching out to physically push Kai aside. As she did, her hand made contact with his exposed forearm where his jacket had torn. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Lyra's implant suddenly erupted in a cacophony of colors, emitting a high-pitched whine that caused nearby Xylans to cover their audio receptors. The implant flashed through colors never before seen in the harmonic resonance spectrum, indicating not just compatibility, but a form of overload. Lyra's perfect composure cracked. Her eyes widened in shock, then narrowed in sudden fury. "What technology are you using to interfere with my implant?" she demanded, her voice rising. "This is impossible." Before Kai could protest his innocence, Lyra lunged forward and tore at his jacket, ripping it open further along with his shirt beneath, exposing his chest as she searched for some hidden device. "What is causing this disruption?" she demanded, her carefully maintained calm shattered. The crowd gasped at the public display. Commander Lyra Vanya, paragon of harmonic control, was behaving erratically, her implant continuing to display impossible readings that challenged the very foundation of the resonance system. Security drones closed in, their alarm tones blaring. Kai stood frozen in shock, utterly bewildered by the turn of events. "I don't have any technology," he protested. "I don't know what's happening." The security drones deployed containment fields around both of them. "Commander Vanya, human designate Kai, you are both being detained pending investigation of this incident," announced the lead drone. "Please remain calm and compliant." As they were escorted away under the watchful eyes of hundreds of shocked Xylans, Kai caught sight of Lyra's implant still cycling through impossible colors. Whatever was happening between them clearly defied the system's understanding. And judging by the look of confused rage on Lyra's face, she was determined to find out why. Security Chief Borum observed the two detainees through the one-way transparency of the observation rooms. His crystalline features remained impassive, but the slight flicker of his implant betrayed his concern. Next to him stood Dr. Alera, the station's chief resonance analyst, her scientific curiosity evident in the way she leaned forward, studying the readings on her datapad. "In my 30 cycles of service, I've never seen readings like these," Borum stated, his voice a low rumble. "The human's baseline resonance should be minimal at best." Dr. Alera nodded, her eyes never leaving the display. "That's what makes this so fascinating." When they made physical contact, Commander Vanya's implant registered compatibility levels that exceed our measurement scales. "It's as if what, Doctor?" Borum prompted. "As if our entire understanding of resonance might be flawed," she finished quietly, glancing up to gauge Borum's reaction. In the adjacent observation rooms, Kai and Lyra sat separately, each undergoing different forms of questioning. Kai repeatedly insisted he possessed no technology capable of interfering with resonance implants, while Lyra maintained her composure had returned, though her implant continued to fluctuate abnormally. "I want that human examined thoroughly," came a sharp voice from behind Borum and Alera. "And I want him removed from the station immediately afterward." High Counselor Zarek strode into the observation area, his tall form radiating authority. As Lyra's politically ambitious fiancé, arranged through their exceptionally high resonance compatibility, he had significant influence on the station. His own implant gleamed with the steady blue of perfect harmonic adherence. "High Counselor," Borum acknowledged with a respectful nod. "We're still investigating the nature of the incident." "What's to investigate?" Zarek snapped. "A dissonant has clearly tampered with resonance technology. It's a security breach, possibly even sabotage, and Commander Vanya needs to undergo immediate purification protocols to clear this contamination from her implant." Dr. Alera stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overriding her usual deference to authority. "High Counselor, I believe we should conduct further tests. This reaction is unprecedented and could represent an important discovery about resonance itself." "What are you suggesting, Doctor?" Zarek's tone was dangerous. "I propose we place Commander Vanya and the human together in a controlled environment to observe their interaction. If there is tampering, we'll detect it. If there's something else happening..." She left the implication hanging. "Absolutely not," Zarek objected. "I will not have my fiancée subjected to further contamination by a dissonant." Borum, ever the pragmatist, intervened. "If there is a vulnerability in our resonance system, High Counselor, wouldn't it be better to discover it now, in controlled conditions, rather than risk a more public incident?" Zarek's implant flickered briefly with suppressed emotion before steadying. "Fine. You have 1 cycle. Then I expect the human process for expulsion and Commander Vanya purified." He turned sharply and left, his rigid posture betraying his anger. After Zarek's departure, Dr. Alera exchanged a meaningful look with Borum. Did you notice his implant fluctuation when discussing further contact between Commander Vanya and the human? I did, Borum confirmed quietly. Most irregular for someone with his supposed perfect resonance. Hours later, Kai found himself transferred to a sterile biolab, where Lyra already waited, keeping as much distance as the room allowed. Observation cameras tracked their every movement, and Dr. Alera's voice occasionally came through the communication system, instructing them through various proximity tests. "This is absurd," Lyra stated coldly, standing rigidly in her designated area. "I've served Xylo's station with perfect resonance for 15 cycles. Whatever technology this dissonant is using, it cannot possibly indicate true compatibility." Kai sighed, leaning against the far wall. "Look, Commander, I'm as confused as you are. I'm just a transport pilot trying to make a delivery. I don't have any fancy tech that could mess with your implants." "Impossible. The system doesn't make mistakes." Her voice held absolute conviction, but Kai noticed her hand unconsciously touching her implant, which continued to display unusual color patterns. "Maybe it's not a mistake," Kai suggested cautiously. "Maybe it's showing something the system wasn't programmed to recognize." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "The harmonic resonance system is perfect. It's been the foundation of Xylan society for generations." "No system is perfect," Kai countered. He activated his personal communicator. "Logos, can you explain the logical fallacy Commander Vanya is demonstrating?" The AI's precise voice emerged from the device. "Commander Vanya is exhibiting circular reasoning with exactly 100% certainty. She believes the system cannot be wrong because the system says it cannot be wrong. This creates a perfect logical loop with zero escape vectors." Lyra's implant flashed brightly at the AI's analysis. "Shut that thing off," she demanded. Dr. Alera's voice came through the lab speakers. "Actually, the AI's logical assessment is quite interesting. Commander Vanya, could you please move 3 steps closer to the human? I'm recording some unusual energy patterns that intensify with proximity." Reluctantly, Lyra complied, her implant's colors shifting more rapidly as she approached Kai. Despite her efforts to maintain her composure, Kai noticed a slight tremor in her hands. "What are you feeling right now, Commander?" Dr. Alera asked, her scientific curiosity evident. "Discomfort. Confusion." Lyra paused, then added with reluctance, "And something else I cannot categorize. It's not within standard resonance parameters. Perhaps because it's something your implant wasn't programmed to recognize," Kai suggested quietly. Lyra shot him a glare, but didn't contradict him. For the first time, doubt flickered across her perfect features. Over the next several hours, Dr. Alera ran them through a series of proximity tests, each revealing more anomalies in Lyra's implant readings. Throughout it all, Kai observed Lyra's increasing discomfort. Not physical discomfort, he realized, but the discomfort of someone whose fundamental beliefs were being challenged. When they were finally left alone for a monitoring period, Lyra sat at the far end of the lab, surreptitiously accessing data files on her personal device. "What are you researching?" Kai asked after watching her for several minutes. She glanced up, startled. "Historical resonance anomalies. There must be precedent for this. Malfunction. Finding anything?" Her silence was answer enough. "You know," Kai said carefully, "where I come from, we don't have implants telling us who we're compatible with. We figure it out the old-fashioned way, by actually getting to know each other." "How inefficient," Lyra replied, but her tone lacked conviction. "Maybe, but also more genuine." Kai watched as her implant pulsed with new colors each time their conversation deepened. "Your implant seems to like our talk." Lyra's hand moved to cover the device, as if embarrassed by its betrayal. "High Counselor Zarek and I have perfect resonance compatibility," she stated, though Kai hadn't asked. "Our union will advance both our positions within station governance." "Sounds romantic," Kai remarked dryly. "Romance is inefficient. Harmonic resonance ensures optimal pairing." "Does it?" Kai challenged gently. "Then why is your implant going crazy around a supposedly incompatible human?" Lyra had no answer, and for the first time since their encounter, she looked truly lost. The power failure came without warning. One moment the biolab was brightly lit with monitoring equipment humming. The next they were plunged into darkness with only the emergency lighting casting a soft blue glow through the room. Security override activated, announced an automated voice. Containment protocols engaged. What's happening? Lyra demanded, standing abruptly. Kai moved to the door panel, examining it. We're locked in. Complete system failure or deliberate sabotage. Sabotage? By whom? Well, your fiancé didn't seem too happy about our little science experiment, Kai pointed out. How far would he go to end it? Lyra's implant pulsed in the darkness. Zarek would never compromise station security, unless he thought something threatened his position. Or his perfect fiancé. Kai activated his communicator. Logos, can you access station systems? What's happening out there? After a moment of static, the AI responded. Station power grid experiencing failure in precisely 37.8% of systems. Security protocols have isolated affected sectors. Estimated restoration time, 3.4 hours with exactly 96.2% probability. So we're stuck. Here, Kai concluded, sitting down against the wall. Might as well get comfortable. Lyra remained standing for several long minutes before finally relenting and sitting as well, though she maintained her distance. The blue emergency lighting cast ethereal shadows across her crystalline features, making her appear more vulnerable than Kai had yet seen her. Time passed slowly in the semi-darkness. Eventually, Lyra broke the silence. What's it like, not having your compatibility determined for you? Kai considered the question. Messier. More mistakes, but also more real, I guess. You discover compatibility rather than being told it exists. It sounds chaotic. Life is chaotic, Kai replied with a shrug. The universe tends toward entropy, not perfect harmony. Lyra's implant pulsed softly. Do you know what happens to Xylans with low resonance readings? She asked suddenly. Kai shook his head. They're relegated to lower levels of the station. Limited career paths. Restricted from certain social circles. It's not discussed openly. She hesitated. My readings were always perfect. I never questioned the system because it favored me. But sometimes I wonder about those whose implants don't display the right colors. Like the humans you call dissonants. Like anyone who doesn't fit the pattern. For the first time, she looked directly at him without disdain. The pressure to maintain perfect resonance is considerable. My entire life has been structured around preserving optimal readings. My career, my social circle, my engagement to Zarek, all predetermined by compatibility algorithms. And are you happy? Kai asked simply. The question seemed to startle her. Happiness is subjective and inefficient. I am optimally placed. That's not an answer. In the blue darkness, Lyra's composure finally cracked. I don't know, she admitted, her voice barely audible. I've never allowed myself to consider the question. Kai shifted closer, and remarkably, she didn't move away. Tell me about yourself, the real you, not your resonance profile. Slowly, hesitantly, Lyra began to speak. She told him about her childhood fascination with stellar cartography, abandoned because it showed lower resonance compatibility than command training. She spoke of her parents' pride in her perfect readings, the pressure to maintain them, the calculated nature of every relationship she'd ever formed. In turn, Kai shared his own story, his struggle to make a living as an independent transport pilot, the debt that kept him flying risky routes, the solitude of space broken only by Logos' literal-minded companionship. As they talked, something shifted between them. Lyra's implant, which had been chaotically cycling through colors since their first contact, gradually settled into a soft, steady glow. Not the rigid blue of programmed compatibility, but a warm purple unlike anything in the standard resonance spectrum. When the lights suddenly came back on, they both blinked in the brightness, the moment of connection broken but not forgotten. Dr. Alera's voice came through the comm system. Commander Vanya, human designate Kai. Are you both unharmed? We're fine, Doctor, Lyra responded, her professional demeanor returning, though Kai noticed she didn't immediately increase the distance between them. Excellent. The power failure affected multiple systems. Most have been restored, but I've discovered something concerning in the backup data cores. I believe you both should see this. I'm sending it to the lab terminal now. The terminal on the lab wall activated, displaying complex code that meant little to Kai. Lyra, however, studied it intently, her expression growing increasingly troubled. "What is it?" Kai asked. "Historical resonance code," she explained quietly. "The foundational algorithms that govern our entire system." "And what's wrong with it?" Lyra's voice was tight. "According to this, certain biological signatures, including basic human physiology, were deliberately downgraded or flagged as dissonant generations ago." "Deliberately?" Kai moved closer to examine the code. "Logos, can you analyze this data?" The AI responded after a brief pause. "Analysis confirms manipulation of resonance classification parameters dating back exactly 273.6 standard years. Biological signatures of non-Xylan species systematically recategorized with exactly 100% prejudicial intent." The system isn't measuring true harmony, Lyra realized, her voice hollow. It's enforcing design compliance. All this time, her implant pulsed erratically as she processed the revelation. The entire foundation of her society, her identity, her future, all based on a deliberate manipulation. Before they could discuss further, the lab door slid open with a hiss. High Counselor Zarek strode in, flanked by security drones, his face a mask of controlled fury. "This experiment is over," he announced. "The power failure has demonstrated the risk of continuing this unstable interaction." He turned to the security drones. "Prepare the human for memory wipe and expulsion. Commander Vanya requires immediate recalibration." "Zarek, wait." Lyra stepped forward. "There's something wrong with the resonance system. We've found evidence. Evidence planted by this dissonant. No doubt." Zarek cut her off. "Your implant is clearly malfunctioning, Lyra. Once recalibrated, you'll recognize the absurdity of these claims." Dr. Alera appeared in the doorway behind Zarek, her expression troubled. "High Counselor, as Chief Resonance Analyst, I must insist we examine this data further before taking irreversible actions." "Your concerns are noted, Doctor, but this is now a security matter under my authority," Zarek replied coldly. "Chief Borum has been temporarily relieved pending review of his handling of this incident." Kai caught the subtle nod from Dr. Alera, who discreetly touched her communication device. Moments later, alarms blared throughout the section. "Security alert in Sector 7," announced the station's automated system. "All personnel report to emergency stations." The security drone's attention diverted momentarily. "High Counselor, we must respond to the alert," stated the lead drone. "Ignore it," Zarek commanded. "This is priority." In the moment of confusion, Dr. Alera moved quickly, activating a control panel near the door. "Service tunnel access unlocked." "Go now," she urged Kai and Lyra. "I'll delay them." Kai grabbed Lyra's hand. "Come on." Lyra hesitated, torn between a lifetime of compliance and the truth she had discovered. "Lyra," Zarek's voice was commanding. "Remain where you are. That's an order." For one suspended moment, Lyra stood between two paths, her privileged life within a system of lies, or an uncertain future seeking truth with Kai. She made her choice. Taking Kai's hand firmly, she pulled him toward the service tunnel entrance that Dr. Alera had revealed. "This way. I know the station layout." As they disappeared into the tunnel, Zarek's furious shout followed them. "You've just thrown away everything, Lyra. There's no place for you in Xylos now." The service tunnels of Xylos Station formed a labyrinthine network beneath the gleaming public areas. Dimly lit and rarely traversed, they provided the perfect escape route. Lyra moved with surprising confidence through the passages, her lifetime of studying station protocols finally serving a purpose outside the system. "Logos," Kai spoke into his communicator as they ran. "Can you map our route to the lower levels?" Calculating optimal escape vectors with precisely 87.3% accuracy, the AI responded. Commander Vanya's current trajectory has exactly 94.6% probability of intersecting with security patrols in 7.8 minutes. We need to change direction, Kai relayed to Lyra. Security ahead. She nodded, making a sharp turn down a narrower passage. There's an access shaft to the lower levels through here. It bypasses the main security checkpoints. As they descended through the station, the pristine corridors gave way to increasingly utilitarian spaces. The temperature rose, the air grew thicker, and the omnipresent hum of perfectly calibrated systems faded to a more irregular mechanical cacophony. I've never been to the lower levels, Lyra admitted as they paused to catch their breath. Her implant pulsed with a mixture of colors, fear, excitement, uncertainty. Welcome to How the Other Half Lives, Kai replied. Or should I say, the dissonance. The humor was lost on Lyra, whose attention had fixed on something ahead. What is that? They had reached the boundary of what the Xylans called the discordant zone, the unofficial name for the lower levels where those with low resonance readings were relegated. What had caught Lyra's attention was the vibrant, chaotic energy of the place. Unlike the sterile, orderly upper levels, the discordant zone pulsed with life, a patchwork of makeshift dwellings, repurposed technology, and a diverse mixture of species coexisting without resonance governance. This is impossible, Lyra whispered. Station protocols dictate that disharmonious proximity should result in conflict and dysfunction. Yet they're cooperating. Turns out people can get along just fine without implants telling them who they're compatible with, Kai observed. Come on, we need to find someone who can help us. They moved cautiously through the bustling lower level. Lyra drew curious stares, her commander's uniform and the gleaming implant at her temple immediately marking her as an outsider. Kai kept close, acutely aware of the risk they were taking. Not everyone in the discordant zone would welcome a high-ranking Xylan officer in their midst. Kai, my old friend, I thought you'd be halfway to the Corellian sector by now, called a voice from a nearby stall where salvage technology was being repaired. Plans changed, Kalen. Kai responded, approaching the stall where an older Xylan sat surrounded by disassembled devices. Unlike the pristine, crystalline appearance of upper-level Xylans, Kalen's features showed signs of age and hardship. His temple bore a dormant implant, long since deactivated. Kalen's eyes widened when he spotted Lyra. And you brought a commander with you. Interesting choice of company. She's with me. We need help? Kai explained quickly. Somewhere quiet to talk. Kalen studied them both for a long moment, his gaze lingering on Lyra's still-active implant with its unusual color patterns. Follow me, but she'll need a change of clothes. That uniform might as well be a target down here. He led them through the winding pathways of the discordant zone to a small living quarter tucked away in a quiet corner. Inside, a mixture of salvaged Xylan technology and off-world artifacts created a surprisingly comfortable space. You'll find something to wear in there. Kalen indicated a storage unit to Lyra. Meanwhile, Kai can explain why you're both running from security. I assume you are running. While Lyra changed, Kai quickly outlined the situation. The unexpected resonance reaction, their discovery about the manipulated code, and Zarek's attempt to silence them. Kalen listened intently, occasionally nodding. We've suspected something like this for generations, he revealed when Kai finished. Those of us down here with defective resonance have always questioned why we were incompatible with the system. Lyra emerged wearing simple civilian clothing, her commander's uniform discarded. Without its formal lines, she appeared younger, more vulnerable. You were an engineer, she observed, noting the specific technical components scattered around Kalen's quarters. Senior systems architect for harmonic integration, Kalen confirmed. Until I questioned why certain modifications were being made to the resonance parameters. Official record states my implant malfunctioned, rendering me incompatible with continued service. It wasn't a malfunction, was it? Lyra asked quietly. No more than your implant is malfunctioning now, Kalen replied, nodding toward her temple where the device continued to display non-standard colors. The difference is your anomaly can't be hidden or explained away, and that makes you dangerous to those who maintain the system. We have evidence, Kai interjected. Dr. Alera sent us the original code, showing the deliberate manipulation. Evidence is good, but insufficient, Kalen said. The upper levels won't believe something that contradicts their entire social structure based on code snippets. They'll claim it's fabricated, corrupted, or misinterpreted. Then what do we do? Lyra asked, an edge of desperation in her voice. Kalen smiled for the first time, a surprisingly warm expression on his weathered face. We show them. You're not the only ones questioning the system. We have a network, Xylans, humans, and others, working to expose the truth. A resistance movement? Lyra sounded skeptical. We prefer truth seekers, Kalen replied. And your unique resonance reaction with Kai might be exactly what we've been waiting for. Living proof that the system's fundamental claims are false. Over the following days, Lyra and Kai integrated into life in the Discordant Zone, sheltered by Kalen and his network of allies. For Lyra, it was a profound culture shock. Everything she had been taught about disharmonious coexistence proved false as she witnessed the vibrant community that had formed outside the resonance system's control. She learned practical skills that had never been part of her command training. How to repair salvage technology, navigate the unofficial economy of the lower levels, and interact without the mediation of implant readings. Most surprisingly, she discovered the strength that came from diversity, the creative solutions that emerged when different perspectives converged on a problem. Throughout all, her connection with Kai deepened. What had begun as an inexplicable resonance anomaly evolved in a genuine understanding and respect. They worked together, learning from each other's strengths. Her systematic approach complementing his adaptability, his intuition balancing her logic. At night, when the station's lighting dimmed to simulate evening, they would often find themselves on an observation platform overlooking the vast space beyond Xylos. There, away from the others, they spoke of things they had never shared. Hopes, fears, regrets. I keep thinking about what happens if we succeed, Lyra confessed one night, her implant glowing softly in the darkness. The entire social structure of Xylos is built on the resonance system. What replaces it? Maybe nothing needs to replace it, Kai suggested. Maybe people just need the freedom to find their own connections like they do down here. That's terrifying, Lyra admitted. And, strangely, appealing. Kai laughed softly. For someone who insisted we were fundamentally incompatible, you've come a long way. In the dim light, Lyra reached out and took his hand. The action was still new to her. Casual touch had been rare in her previous life, regulated by resonance protocols. Her implant brightened at the contact, but neither of them paid it any attention anymore. We were never incompatible, she said quietly. Zizistimlit. When Kai looked at her, something shifted between them, an acknowledgement of feelings that had been growing since their escape. Without the guidance of implants or protocols, they moved toward each other naturally, their first kiss a defiance of everything the system had declared impossible. Meanwhile, Kalen and Dr. Alera, who maintained covert contact through secure channels, worked with Kai to develop a plan. Using Logos' computational abilities and Alera's inside access, they mapped a path to the resonance core, the central hub that maintained the station's harmonic system. Zarek is planning a major station ceremony in 3 cycles. Alera informed them during one of her secret communications. He's accelerating the integration of new resonance protocols, even more restrictive ones. Security will be focused on the public areas, leaving the core relatively vulnerable. Why would he push new protocols now? Lyra questioned. It would draw attention to the system when he should be trying to avoid scrutiny. Control through distraction, Kalen suggested. Create a spectacle of harmony while tightening the restrictions. Classic authoritarian response to threats. They formulated their plan carefully. Kalen's group would create diversions throughout the station. Dr. Alera would provide access codes and disable certain security protocols. Kai would upload the evidence of manipulation along with a corrective patch developed by Logos, and Lyra would use her command authorization to override security lockouts and ensure the transmission reached the entire station's network. The risk is substantial, logos calculated with typical precision. Probability of success stands at exactly 42.7%. Better odds than I usually get, Kai remarked with a half-smile. The night before their planned infiltration, Lyra and Kai returned to their observation point. The vastness of space stretched before them, putting their struggle into cosmic perspective. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" Kai asked. Lyra's implant pulsed gently. "No, but I'm going anyway." She turned to him, her expression serious. "Kai, if this fails, if we're captured, Zarek won't show mercy. You should know that I—" Kai gently touched her implant, interrupting her. "I know. Me too." The gesture, touching her implant, something no one had ever done, was so intimate that Lyra gasped softly. The device glowed with a pure, steady light unlike anything the resonant spectrum had cataloged. "Whatever happens tomorrow," Kai said quietly, "that's real. Not programmed, not manipulated. Real." The day of the ceremony arrived with the station in full celebratory mode. Zarek had spared no expense, positioning himself at the center of the spectacle as the champion of harmonic perfection. Security was heightened throughout the upper levels, just as Dr. Alara had predicted. Disguised as maintenance workers, Kai and Lyra made their way toward the resonance core, guided by Kalen through service routes. Logos provided real-time security updates through Kai's communicator, calculating optimal paths and timing. Alara reports she's been summoned to the ceremony unexpectedly. Kalen's voice came through their secure channel. "Zarek suspects something. She'll try to maintain our access, but be prepared for complications." As they approached the core, the diversions began. Minor system failures, resonance fluctuations, and small disturbances scattered throughout the station. Security forces divided their attention, creating the window they needed. The resonance core itself was a marvel of Xylan technology, a crystalline chamber housing the central processors that maintain the entire harmonic system. Under normal circumstances, it would be impossible to access without highest-level authorization. Lyra placed her hand on the recognition panel, her command codes, not yet revoked, granting them entry. "We have minutes at most before the system flags unauthorized access," she warned. Inside the core, crystalline interfaces pulsed with light, the very heartbeat of Xylos Station's social order. Kai moved quickly to the central terminal while Lyra maintained lookout, her knowledge of security protocols proving invaluable. Logos, initiating data transfer. Kai spoke into his communicator, connecting it to the terminal. "Begin upload sequence." Transfer initiated with precisely 100% efficiency, the AI confirmed. Estimated completion time, 4.6 minutes. Lyra's implant flickered nervously as she watched the entrance. "Something's wrong. Security patterns are shifting." Before Kai could respond, a communication panel activated automatically. Dr. Alara's face appeared, her expression urgent. "They've discovered my access overrides. Zarek knows you're in the core. He's coming with an elite security team. I've been compromised." The transmission cut off abruptly. "We need to hurry," Kai urged, watching the progress indicator with growing anxiety. "Logos, can you accelerate the transfer?" "Negative. Accelerating would compromise data integrity with exactly 89.4% probability." Lyra joined him at the terminal. "Let me try something." Her fingers flew across the interface, inputting command sequences Kai couldn't follow. "I'm creating a priority override. It might buy us time." The doors to the core chamber slid open. Kalen's group had done their part well, creating enough diversions to thin out security, but not enough to stop Zarek himself. He stood in the doorway, flanked by 4 security drones, his perfect composure marred by undisguised fury. "I always knew you would betray harmonic principles, Lyra," he said, stepping into the chamber. "But I never expected you would betray your own kind for a dissonant." "Our kind has been betrayed for generations, Zarek," Lyra replied, standing protectively near the terminal where Kai continued the upload. "The resonance system is built on lies. Lies that maintain order, peace, and prosperity," Zarek countered. "What do you think happens when you destroy the foundation of our society?" "Chaos." Disorder. The very disharmony we've engineered out of existence. You mean the diversity you've suppressed, Kai interjected. The connections you've prevented. The truth you've hidden. Zarek's implant pulsed with cold blue light. I won't debate philosophy with a dissonant. Security, detain them both. He turned to Lyra. As for you, your implant clearly requires more than simple recalibration. Perhaps a complete reset is in order. The security drones advanced, containment fields humming. Kai glanced at the upload progress, still incomplete. You know what I find interesting, Zarek? Lyra said, stalling for time. Your perfect resonance readings never fluctuate. Not even when you're angry or afraid. Almost as if they're artificially maintained. A flash of something, alarm, perhaps, crossed Zarek's face before his composure returned. An absurd accusation from someone whose implant is malfunctioning. Is it malfunctioning, though? Lyra challenged. Or is it finally showing the truth your system has suppressed? Zarek's patience ended. Enough. If your implant won't respond to standard protocols, perhaps more direct methods are required. He activated his official access panel. Terminal. Initiate remote implant override for Commander Lyra Vanya. Authorization Zarek Prime. Override initiated. Respond to the system. Warning. Remote recalibration may cause temporary disorientation. Lyra gasped as her implant began to pulse erratically, pain evident on her face. The device was being forcibly reset, breaking her connection with Kai and reimposing the system's artificial constraints. Acting on instinct, Kai grabbed her hand, pulling her close just as Zarek's override sequence reached its peak. Their physical contact, combined with Zarek's interference and the upload package nearing completion, created a perfect storm within the resonance core. Instead of shutting down, Lyra's implant erupted with energy that fed back into the core itself. The crystalline chamber filled with pulsing light as the fundamental frequencies of the entire system began to fluctuate wildly. Zarek stared in horror as the control panels displayed impossible readings, truth cascading through a system built on carefully constructed fiction. "What have you done?" he demanded, but his voice was drowned out by the harmonic resonance, now physically vibrating through the chamber. The upload completed, sending the evidence of the system's manipulation along with correctional code throughout Xylo's station. On every level, in every sector, Xylan implants began to display new, unfiltered readings, true compatibility patterns free from the artificial constraints imposed generations ago. In the ceremony hall, the public broadcast Zarek had arranged to celebrate harmonic perfection instead displayed the revelation of its fundamental deception. Implants throughout the gathering flickered and reset, showing true readings between individuals who had been told they were incompatible, including many humans and Xylans who discovered connections the system had deliberately suppressed. Back in the core, Zarek made a desperate lunge toward the terminal, seeking to halt the cascade of truth. "You're destroying everything we've built. We're revealing what you've hidden," Kai countered, still holding Lyra as her implant stabilized into a new pattern, a harmonious glow unlike anything the system had previously displayed. The security drones, their programming conflicted by the system reset, hovered uncertainly. Into this moment of chaos stepped Security Chief Borum, who had followed Zarek to the core. Borum surveyed the scene, his own implant now displaying readings drastically different from before. He looked at Zarek, then at Kai and Lyra. "High Counselor, I believe I understand the situation now." Zarek turned to him, relief visible. "Good. Arrest these saboteurs immediately. The evidence suggests the sabotage occurred generations ago," Borum replied calmly, "and has been perpetuated by those in power ever since." He gestured to the security drones. "Detain High Counselor Zarek pending full investigation of system manipulation and abuse of authority." "This is outrageous," Zarek protested as the drones surrounded him. "You can't possibly believe the wild claims of a dissonant and a corrupted officer." "I believe the evidence," Borum stated simply, "and my own implant, which now shows me truth I've been denied. The system will be examined thoroughly and responsibility assigned appropriately." He nodded to Kai and Lyra. Your actions today will have far-reaching consequences. Some may not thank you for disrupting their comfortable illusions. Truth is rarely comfortable, Lyra replied, her implant glowing steadily. But it's necessary. 3 months later, Xylo Station pulsed with a different energy. The rigid separations between levels had begun to dissolve as the reformed resonance system reflected genuine connections rather than enforced compliance. Under Dr. Alera's guidance, a coalition of scientists worked to transform the implant from instruments of control to tools for understanding genuine compatibility across all species. The discordant zone gradually integrated with the upper levels, bringing its vibrant diversity into spaces previously reserved for perfect harmony. Resistance remained among some traditionalists, but the evidence of the system's manipulation was irrefutable. In a quiet observation area overlooking the docking bays, Lyra and Kai stood together, watching ships arrive and depart. She now served as liaison between former resonance governance and the emerging integrated society, working alongside Kalen and other once marginalized voices to build something new. Her implant remained, but reprogrammed to simply reflect connections rather than enforce them, glowing with a steady, unique light when Kai was near. Transport vessel requesting docking clearance, announced the station controller. Captain Kai, please confirm your return protocol. Kai activated his communicator. Confirmed. Requesting standard berth for medium cargo delivery. How long will you stay this time? Lyra asked, the question that accompanied every return. Kai smiled, taking her hand. Their fingers intertwined naturally, a connection no system needed to measure or validate. Longer than last time, Logos has calculated some new shipping routes that give us more time between runs. Calculating optimal relationship maintenance requires approximately 37.8% more station time. The AI interjected through the communicator, with significantly enhanced probability of continued harmonious interaction. They both laughed at the AI's attempt at relationship advice. Even Logos is learning, Kai remarked. Lyra's gaze moved across the station visible through the viewport, still beautiful in its crystalline architecture, but now alive with a more chaotic, genuine energy. Sometimes I still can't believe how much has changed. How much we changed it. It started when you ripped my shirt off, Kai reminded her with a grin. Not the usual beginning to social revolution. Her implant pulsed with amusement, a function that would have been suppressed in the old system. I was looking for technology interfering with my readings. Instead, I found the truth, Kai suggested. Lyra shook her head slightly. Something better. The possibility of finding our own truth, not one prescribed for us. She turned to face him fully. I used to believe compatibility was something calculated and assigned. Now I understand it's something discovered and created moment by moment. Pretty philosophical for someone who once called me fundamentally incompatible, Kai teased. I was wrong, Lyra admitted simply. Fortunately, being proven wrong turned out to be the most harmonious experience of my life. As Kai's ship completed its docking sequence below, they remained together at the viewport, two individuals whose unexpected connection had transformed an entire society. Beyond the station, stars gleamed in the vastness of space. Uncounted possibilities waiting to be discovered by those now free to find their own resonance. In a final bit of irony, Logos' voice emerged from the communicator one last time. Probability that all these events would unfold exactly as they did. 0.0004%. Conclusion. Some forms of harmony defy statistical prediction with precisely 100% certainty.